Welcome to the right way to play Tia.
She's really weird.
Yeah, which is good. Hey, weren't you a girl in the last right way to play?
Nope.
Anyway, I can't really think of another character that really does a majority of their damage off of their passive procs, or has a unique amount of level ups that they can distribute throughout their abilities. Maybe there's something from like Dota or Smite that does it that I've never heard of.
I don't know who plays Smite unironically, though.
We're going to jump on over and look at the builds first, because that's what a lot of people come to these right way to play guides for anyway. I have a personal preference for this build. The ID number is on screen. This one gives you the survivability you need and plenty of skill amp for your passive to do the big damage. It's also very safe, and it's super unlikely you'll end up getting picked off early. This is the most played and picked build for Tia at the higher levels. Build ID on screen. I think that the amount of skill amp items in this build are a bit overkill, and it doesn't quite give you the amount of survivability that I personally would enjoy. You're really at glass cannon with this build, but if you're confident enough in your jukes, be my guest.
Alright, that's the best builds. Now let's talk about her skills and color theory, I guess.
Yeah, so Tia's passive is called color mixing. When you hit enemies with your Q or E, you paint them with whatever color was currently selected, that being red, yellow, or blue. Painting them with two colors procs a chipmunk. Each chipmunk has unique effects depending on your color combination. Each color has its own unique cooldown as well. In order from fastest cooldown to slowest cooldown, it's red, blue, and then yellow. Combining red and yellow procs Mad Chipmunk, which silences and applies a true damage over time, over 2 seconds. Combining red and blue procs Blessed Chipmunk, which does a flat amount of true damage, heals Tia, and increases your movement speed for a short time. Combining blue and yellow procs Magic Chipmunk, which does a flat amount of true damage and roots your target for a short time. Tia also gains 6 attack power for every 10% of cooldown reduction she has, and the Chipmunk scale with both attack power and skill amp.
Okay, that's a lot of information to take in, and it's one of 2 abilities that has a lot of shit on it. So let me overload you with a little bit more. You can actually put 5 level up points into your passive. Now wait a minute, you're thinking, 5? How are you supposed to level your skills then? Well, we're getting to it. TSQ is called Brushstroke, and what this ability does changes depending on what color paint you're currently on. Yellow throws a small skill shot that explodes into a cone AoE at the end. Anybody hit with this is painted yellow. Red is a cone AoE swipe that does skill damage. Enemies hit with the outside edge have their vision reduced and are painted red. Blue is a big circular slam. Hitting people with the circular portion of it paints them blue and knocks them up. Hitting people with the little tiny inner circle does bonus skill damage. Using your Q will automatically switch your paint color to the next in the rotation. Holy fuck. Okay, that's basically Tia's entire kit, if I'm being completely honest with you. Yeah, actually though, Tia's W is palette swap, and it lets you switch your paint color. Your colors recharge faster with more points in this ability. Because E is a dash of color. It's a dash. It paints them whatever color you're currently selected on, and it auto switches to the next color, same as her Q. And finally, Tia's R is full rainbow. It's a big circle that has a short wind up, and when it completes, it does skill damage and stuns the enemy. If they were painted, the stun duration is increased slightly. They threw so much onto 2 abilities, and then the other ones they were like, okay, we're gonna overwhelm the player, let's make them real easy to understand.
Yeah, and one more thing. Remember I said you could put 5 points into your passive? Well, you can only put 3 points into your W. They basically flip them around.
Like I said, she's fucking weird.
Oh, and my max order is W, passive, Q, and then E. Now, I hear you typing down there. And yes, I do W first, and then E last. I like to do the W first because it lets your paints recharge faster, and that's essentially the core of your kit. Doing your passive next is pretty obvious. That's going to be a majority of your damage. And then I do Q next because it has a lot more scaling skill damage, and it applies a flat amount of additional skill damage on top of that. And you do E last because if you know how to use your Q and your passive properly, there's not going to be too many situations in which you're going to need to E dash away. No. Say it how you actually think it is. Maxing E is for the people who don't want to actually learn the character and need a baby easy way to apply colors and a way to run away from every fight. You have so much CC built into your kit. You have a root, a silence, a knockup, a vision reduction, and a slow, and on top of that you have a movement speed boost. Learn the character. Look, he said it, not me. Augments are pretty easy and straightforward. You take Vampiric Bloodline because of your Q and passive will stack it very quickly. Spirit Culling for SP because Tia is very SP hungry. I prefer taking Dismantle Goliath. And then Fortification with Dulled Blades because it's the best one. And Reinforced Armor because with the build that I use, there's a lot of damage reduction stats. Let's talk about Tia's practicality in-game. When you first start to try to learn her, don't bother with the chipmunks. Focus on her Q. Getting used to the rotating paint colors and their effects first builds the best foundation for figuring out how to use the passive properly. Once you think you have a handle on the colors, let's hop into a match. Finishing your build by the time nighttime day 1 begins is what I would consider fast. I like to open fights with blue for the knockup and a free combo instantly into a passive proc. The fights you play are really going to be character specific, as usual, but in general, you can kite and slap them around with your multitude of CC effects. If they try to run away, you can use your E to dash after them and hit them with yellow to try to slow them and combo them into your dot to finish them off, or your root to catch up to them. And that's the general idea of how to play Tia. You play her as a kite-heavy caster that has a very special, unique gimmick involving her passive. And I really would like to see more stuff wacky like this coming out of Nimble Neuron. There's obviously a great creative team in the background there. Cool stuff like Aiden, Laura, Alex. There's a lot of really interesting and unique ideas getting released. There's already plenty of easy and basic characters in the game. Let's go creatively wild. Yeah. I don't really know how to end this video.